So how do you do it? How do you actually put together your own digital or internet TV network? Now, you may have noticed I haven't yet talked about why it's essential to get this camera or this lighting grid. That's because, frankly, the technology part is the easiest part of this. I'll cover that in one of the future videos. The hard part is actually deciding to just do it. I hate to sound like a retread of a Nike commercial, but at some point, just do it is what you need to keep in mind when creating your own internet video newscast. You've got to just start doing it. And if you preoccupy yourself with writing and rewriting scripts, you'll never do it. What I recommend most people do is look at your notes, figure out what you want to say in general, but then just talk to the camera. Now, some of you may say, "Oh, TJ, I can't do that. That's hard. I'm not a public speaker." It's not public speaking. It's you talking to one person. Now, chances are, if you are a PR consultant, an in-house communications expert, a subject matter expert, you already spend half of every day doing this, just talking to people about your area of expertise or your client or your company. The easiest thing for most people to do, once they get the hang of it, is just to talk to this video camera as if they were having a phone conversation, talking to one client, one colleague, or one customer. Now, it's hard to do at first. It will feel awkward. And then you'll play it back, and you'll think, "Oh, I don't like the way I look. Oh, my hair's falling out, and I don't like my voice, and gosh, do I have bags under my eyes?" We all have these feelings. Guess what? Get over it. You know, imagine if Oprah Winfrey had said, "Well, I'm a little too heavy to go on camera. Maybe I should be a behind-the-scenes producer." No, she didn't say that. She just went out there and was a real person. So when you're creating your newscast, what I recommend is simply create a conversation for your web visitors, for visitors to your YouTube channel, and you could be on Daily Motion and all sorts of other sites. We'll talk about that in one of the subsequent videos here. But the bigger issue is, how do you really get started? And what I recommend, have a simple outline. Have a simple focus. Now, I'm trying to talk to you right now. I haven't memorized this. I'm not reading a teleprompter. And believe me, there's teleprompter programs out there, and you can turn your little iPhone into a mini teleprompter. In my professional view, a complete, utter waste of time. But there's nothing wrong with notes. I have essentially this sheet of notes on my computer screen in front of me. So if I forget what I want to say, yeah, there's a couple little reminders there. But again, you most likely already have the expertise. You know, if it's your own PR firm and you're promoting a client's new product, chances are you've been talking to this client about the product every day for weeks. You know it back and forth. If a reporter just called you and started interviewing you or talking to you on background on the client's new book, you could just talk to that reporter. You need to take the same attitude when you're creating these videos, because that will make it go much, much faster. The big stumbling block for most people when creating their own regular news network, it's not the technology. It's not finding the right editing software or the perfect camera. It's simply deciding, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it without a net. I'm just going to talk to people. Now, I say without a net. Again, if you create a video and you hate it or you fundamentally make all sorts of factual errors, you do have a net. You just hit the delete button and you can do it again. But what I recommend for most people in most situations, most of the time, nothing is universal, it is to do newscast videos where it's simple talking head. Give people great information. And don't worry about all the fancy graphics and special effects and all the other things. That's not why they're going to come back to you as a reliable news source on a regular basis. They're going to come back to you because you give them good information. And the reality is, these days, a lot of people simply want their information in a video format. You've probably seen the research, newspaper readership, down, down, down. Nonfiction book reading, down in many demographics. But the one thing that is up across the board, especially with people under 35, what's going up? Video viewing. They're watching it on their iPads. They're watching it right in their smart TVs. They're certainly watching it at a bus stop, right on their iPhone. So make your information available to them. Now, if you're with a major trade association and a member calls up and asks you a question about what's going to happen at the annual convention and who's speaking, and that's something you have to know about, chances are you could just talk to them for 5 minutes over the phone. Do the very same thing with your internet newscast. You don't have to have all the B-roll of the hotel where you're going to be, and B-roll is just a fancy word for video and pictures and images. You can simply talk to people, and as long as you have good information and they can hear you clearly, then people are going to value it and they can pass it on. You're not going to have millions of views per video. But if you even had 5 views, and it's the right 5 views, if it's the clients you care about, if it's the media outlets you care about the most, if it is your 6 biggest customers, what does it matter if millions of people don't watch your video? You'll still have communicated in a powerful way. Now, every medium has its own unique strengths and weaknesses, but there is something powerful about the video format. It's not necessarily the way to communicate the largest number of data points or the most numbers, but it is a great way to show people what's really important, to give them a sense of what's important to you and what should be important to them. And that you've got to do by simply talking to them.